Hello, everyone. We are really excited because today we are officially releasing AlphaBOLD's newest add-on solution for NetSuite. This add-on is something we've built here in-house, and it's called BOLDAssembly Toolbox. BOLDAssembly Toolbox comprises of 3 individual tools specifically designed to help companies in the manufacturing space. The majority of the people watching this video are currently using NetSuite. Can you show them how BOLDAssembly differentiates itself from, say, native NetSuite functionality?
Absolutely. So here you can see the orange boxes represent native NetSuite transactions. And typically, when assembly items are created, they're created as part of a separate process. You go into different screens and you generate an item, and you have to click on many fields and set up a lot of sub-records. And usually it's a very cumbersome and long process. It can take from 5 to 30 minutes, depending on what you need to do, okay? So what we thought would be really useful is that if we can actually start this process right from when the order comes into the system, okay? So we've added on top of these native processes, sales orders and a work order, we've created a generate BOM button, import BOM interface as well, that actually create assembly items for you, okay? And in addition to that, they commit that assembly item to the order.
I see. Okay.
Okay.
So as you know, if I was a NetSuite user, how would this directly impact me?
Well, first thing, it would save your time. Obviously, there are fewer clicks. As I mentioned before, this process can take from 5 to 30 minutes, so you would save a lot of time. I think this process can be, as you can see in a demo, this process can be completed within a few minutes or within a few seconds, depending on which tool you use. Also, this process creates component items, and it also creates sub-assemblies from one screen. In NetSuite, you would have to go to the same screen multiple times to be able to create all these different parts of a larger BOM.
Got it. You mentioned sub-assemblies. Can you give us an example?
Absolutely. So when the example I'll show you in the next in one of the next slides is a bike. So we're creating a bike. On a bike, we may have, let's say, a basket, and a basket may have a couple of components. So there may be some screws or some attachment. So those components are part of one SKU, one larger SKU, which is a BOM, and that BOM is a component of a larger parent BOM. Okay, so that's the interface that we built actually allows you to create sub-assemblies on the fly. And also where you can save a lot of time, there are a lot of fields that are pre-configured. They're in our configurator record, and you'll see it shortly. And there you can adjust the accounting settings so that the production manager doesn't have to call the accountant to set those up. He doesn't have to confirm anything because everything will be pre-configured for him or her.
Wow.
And then secondly, the grid import tool is a very flexible tool through a modern grid interface. It allows you to create multi-level assembly items by a click of a button, okay? And also it's very smart because it detects the fields and attributes that you're trying to push into the system, and it validates them and makes sure that you select the correct values before you actually submit those items to the system. And finally, I just want to mention that all of this is built entirely in NetSuite using NetSuite's SuiteScript platform. And it uses, the solution uses and leverages native ERP processes. It's just a level on top of native NetSuite.
Got it. Okay?
And it's really easy. We created a bundle that's easy to install, and it's very easy to then configure the solution as well.
Got it. So as a NetSuite user, again, if I were to, so when my NetSuite environment updates, say twice a year, like it normally does, do I have to worry about my code breaking or the solution not working?
Not at all, not at all. So this code was built using best NetSuite practices, and no upgrades will affect the code, or the code will not break any of native NetSuite functionality.
Awesome. So can you actually show us bold assembly?
Yeah, absolutely. So I recorded this video. I'm going to start it here, and I'll walk you through it. I will start the presentation from a customer record. I'm going to create a sales order. Right? And now next thing that I will do, you can see now generate BOM button at the top left. This is the button that will bring up our screen. So this is our functionality. And here, as I mentioned, I will create a custom bike BOM. I will select unit type, a unit of measure. I will add some description. Notice on the right side, the subsidiary is populated location. All of that is coming from the configurator record that you will see soon. Now I'm going to click on add items, and I'm going to start populating components of the bike. So obviously we're going to have frame. I will speed this up for you so that you don't have to wait for me to add all these items. So now I'm adding a bearing, I have gears, I have saddle, saddle support. So when I click, so I'll add these two quantities. When I click done, these components are added to my BOM generation screen. Notice I can also add sub-assemblies as mentioned before. I'm going to create a basket. Choose a unit type. So different unit types that we have. I'm going to add some random components to it. Okay. And now if I click on commit button, that subassembly BOM is generated in the system, and it's added to my, as a component to my parent BOM. Okay. And as a final step, I will add this BOM to my order. So now I will save my order. And if I scroll down and scroll to the right, there's a link that allows me to create a work order. So I will create a work order. And notice my assembly is listed at the top left, and also all the components are added to my work order. So I can commence my production or assembly. So I'll go back to my customer record. And I will create another order. And I will now show you how to import, create BOMs from a file. So I'm going to click on Import BOM button. Now we'll show you the file that I'm trying to import as items. And these are all the SKUs, the components in the assembly. I will drag the file into the drag and drop interface, and then we'll create a grid. So as mentioned before, this grid is really smart. Also, you can change description. There are some fields that you can adjust. If some of these units were incorrectly entered, these cells would be in red. And notice also what I can do is I can pull components from stock, or I can actually select purchase orders, which means that these will be sourced from a vendor. And notice the ID column shows the internal IDs of the items that already exist in the system. Okay, so the tool will not regenerate these items. It will use them as components. And some of these items don't exist in a system, so they're listed as new in a status column. So now when I click import, the system will generate the missing components, the ones that don't exist in the system, and it will attach those components to my assembly item. When the operation is done, there's a little box that will pop up. And notice the item was added to the sales order, just like before. So I'm going to save this sales order. Okay. Now I'm going to show you, I want to actually show you this is the assembly item screen. And I want to show you all of these different fields and settings that are available for configuration. And this is just to demonstrate how complicated this can be for a production manager, especially the accounting section. What will typically happen, they will call the accounting department, confirm all the fields before they can actually create this item. So that takes time. Now I want to show you where within the system you can configure the configurator record that we provide as part of the installation. This configurator record will default all these fields when items are generated, so you don't have to worry about selecting them or setting them during the item creation. In addition to these fields and these settings, there's also a maintenance utility script that runs as often as you want. And what it does, it inactivates all items that you haven't used in a long time or haven't fulfilled in a long time. So that keeps the system lean. As you know, when you're fulfilling custom orders, you may have a lot of items that you only use once. So this utility helps with maintaining the cleanliness of the system.
That's great. Great. Thanks, Ilya. Thanks for walking us through all of that. It's really, really amazing how much time this could potentially save these production managers that you were talking about and really simplify existing processes. To whoever's watching this video, thanks so much for attending this session. If you're experiencing some of the challenges that we went over earlier and trying to maybe figure out what next steps you can take moving forward, please reach out to us. Email information here. You can give us a call. You can find Ilya and I or myself on LinkedIn. And we look forward to hearing from you. Thanks so much, and thanks, Ilya. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
See ya.